Okay, well, it looks like it's 10 a.m. on my clock, so I will go ahead and get the party started. My name is Allison Cohen. I am Hayes Software Systems Technical Communication Specialist, and I'm your trainer for today. We're going to be going over preferences and settings in TIPWeb-IM District View. So be aware that this is from a district's point of view. We will be talking about campus functionality and things like that, but it's in reference to how these preferences and settings affect those things. There's some really great time-saving choices here, so I'm excited to kind of go over that with you. As you can see from our agenda, we've got settings, preferences, user management, and form letters. So those are the four main areas that we'll be talking about. Also notice in the lower right-hand corner here in the web links box, those same four areas have been documented in the help. So if you click on those, even if you're watching the recording, you can click on those and it'll take you directly to the information in our Help Center that talks about those areas. In addition to that, we have a handout. These are all supplemental, by the way. None of these are required for today's session. It's just as kind of walkaways, that you can take with you or be able to access or bookmark if you wish. Okay? I have us on lecture mode, so please feel free to use the chat box so that if you want to have a conversation with me, it looks like we have people who are comfortable asking questions, and they're not masters of technology, but they're on their way. So let's get started. I'm going to change the screen really quickly and share my screen. Okay. And I will have my chat box open in another window. So if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat throughout the session. As we're looking at the session right now, we have the TIPWeb-IM district homepage up on the screen. This homepage has some alerts and application notifications, inventory statistics, customer support, and of course our support center links. We'll be talking about a little bit of these things on the screen in just a second, but the first thing that I wanted to share with you was the settings screen. So sometimes people ask, well, where is this information documented, Learning ISD? Or if I'm creating a vendor order in inventory, and let me go and open a vendor order real quick, and I look at the details of this vendor order, how does it know, as far as the report is concerned, how does that report know what my address is? Maybe my district warehouse has changed. And I don't have the same address anymore. I need to have some of this stuff updated. These things can be updated in our settings screen. You'll see that here under Tools. So on the left-hand side under Tools, there's Global Tools. The first section we're talking about today is TIPWeb Settings. So clicking on TIPWeb Settings, here you see your district ID number. That can be a state-issued ID number. So that's available to edit if you wish. You've also got your district name. So if for some reason your district name has changed, or you've always really disliked the fact that maybe independent school district or public schools or county public schools is written out and you would like to abbreviate that, you can just click in here and update that information. Same thing here with our shipping address and billing address. As you guys create those vendor orders, those shipping address and billing address are auto-populated, and this is where it's coming from. Okay, so be aware of that. If Sean is no longer the person in charge and you want to document that you're the person in charge, just go into this screen, TIPWeb Settings, and update this information. And again, the same thing with title, address, etc. Any of these things change, just update them. For instance, let's say the phone number changed. And so I changed that here. And I change that here. Oops. And all you have to do is hit save. Okay? It gives you a success statement here at the bottom, and then that has now been updated. All right. So that was quick and easy. Let's go back to Tools, and I'm just going to use the blue back button to go to the previous page. And so we're still on Tools, as you can see here at the top. And now we're going to go into District Preferences. This is where we're going to spend a vast majority of our time today. So under Global Tools on the Tools page, District Preferences. Clicking on District Preferences, we have 7 tabs that we're going to be discussing. So these are the 7 areas. The first one is Interface Options. you have the ability to adjust how many grids your pages display. So if I click on textbooks, you know how it has that big page of rows and columns? So if I want to have 500 show, you certainly can as the default. This is set to 100 to help with load time. So if you don't want to spend a lot of time, excuse me, if you don't want to spend a lot of time waiting for the screen to load, and you know it's milliseconds, but at the same time we're all impatient these days, give it to me now. You can adjust this to fit your desire. So let's take a look at what that looks like. If I switch it to 350, for instance, and choose to save, I can go to textbooks now, and it's going to show me the top 350 rows in different screens. Okay, so we'll go. And here I only have 22 campuses, so that I don't have 350 to show you. But as you can see, these grids are going to adjust based on those settings. So going back into Tools, District Preferences, on the first one here, the second area here is called Data Validation. It's allowing alphanumeric accession numbers to exist. So if you are picking up an existing tag, or if you've created tags outside of the TIPWeb system for your accession numbers, so your ISBN and accession number stickers, if you've created accession numbers or are using pre-existing accession numbers that have alpha characters in them, you will need to turn this on to be able to scan those. We recommend that you not do that. Of course, we recommend that you use our numeric only accession numbers, and this is to help with data validation, which is what it's underneath here, because some ISBNs have alpha characters. And so if we say data validation, all accession numbers have to be numeric, and you accidentally scan an ISBN that has an alpha character in it, it will automatically reject that and say that's not allowed. So by turning this on, that increases the ability to have human error. So that's the only reason that we say best practice not to do that. And that's why if you go into the automation screen and create stickers for your books, the default is to only have numeric accession numbers. Okay? All right, this does not, by the way, allow your stickers to have an alpha character printed in our system. Okay, just a caveat there. This is only allowing you to use stickers that you may have created in a different system that have alphanumeric characters in them both. Our system will not allow you to put in alpha characters into the accession field. So be aware that this is just to be able to read pre-existing third-party accession numbers. All right, make sense? Okay, let's go to the second tab, Transfers. For those of you guys that have larger campuses or a larger number of campuses, or maybe you have a smaller number of campuses, it just doesn't, it depends. A lot of district coordinators will turn this off because they don't want their campuses being able to transfer directly from the high school to the elementary and from the elementary to the middle school, etc., or elementary A to elementary B. They don't want that to happen. Most districts want those materials to come directly to the district office, whether that's a warehouse or a designated area in the district. This is to allow for best practice as far as, is this material usable? Because if Campus A sent Campus B a box full of materials that aren't really usable because they're damaged, they have mildew, they're torn, they're ripped, they have graffiti in them, etc., or the bindings are falling off, all of that stuff, this new campus, Campus B, no longer is responsible, is now responsible for these unusable books. And Campus A just got rid of a bunch of stuff that they can't use, and now they're no longer responsible for. So some of that stuff kind of happens, and to kind of squelch that, most districts come in here and turn this off. You'll find that if you go and view switch into different areas of your district on your campus level, in their inventory screen, just like you do, they have a transfers area. If that transfers area is turned off, then they don't see that section, so that they're not able to click on it and actually utilize it. So that's why that's there. If you want to turn that off and force them to have to send you surplus at the district level, and then you verify that the materials are okay, and then send them out to campus whatever, B, C, D, whomever needs those materials, then it just makes for kind of a cleaner checkpoint. And you're also understanding that this campus is getting rid of materials. If this was allowed to maintain to be on, that can all be happening in the background without your knowledge. So be aware of that. So if you don't want them to do that, you just turn it off and hit save and everything's good. Okay? And that looks like that. Okay. Third tab. This is reports. Okay, so we've got some stuff in here that's really interesting. The first one is called a class roster with barcodes report. This report is super duper nice in the fact that it allows campus users, and again, this is a campus feature, the campus users can be able to print barcodes by class period. So like Mrs. Johnson's second period class, they can print that list of students that are registered for that class, identify their barcodes on a piece of paper, and allow Mrs. Johnson or whomever who's checking out those materials, the district or the campus coordinator, what have you, to go in and use that page to scan off of, so it's only those students that are in that room at that moment in time. Some districts and some campuses within a district do not like the fact that the ID is located on that report. So let me show you what it looks like. So prior to turning this off, this is what this looks like. So here's Elizabeth Lindsay. She's the teacher. The course is Spanish 2. This is second period, and here's a list of her students, okay, in second period class. Their student IDs are visible here next to the barcode, okay. If we go in and go back to this and choose to turn this off and then choose to hit save, now that no longer will show those barcodes. So if you generate that report, it now will have something here that says hidden. Can y'all see that? And I'll zoom in just a little bit just to make sure. So this no longer has the IDs listed. It just says hidden. Okay? So that's what that does. And again, that's the class roster with barcodes. So if there's any sensitivity to IDs and needing to hide IDs, that would be a good choice to use. All right. The second thing is pick tickets. You have some availability here to kind of customize your tickets that you generate when you're doing campus requisitions. We have 3 areas here. So we can choose to hide components on pick tickets. And if you're familiar with components, okay, that's the area that talks about for every hardbound book, there's these 3 things that go along with it, but we're not going to sticker these 3. So that's a component. You can look up components here in the textbook screen, textbook by textbook, or you can run a report on components. So if you're not sure if you have components, go into reports, run the components listing report, and see if you have any. If you do, sometimes the components, especially for like teacher kits, teacher boxes, you know, those sorts of things, can be very, very lengthy. If you've documented everything that's in that kit, but you're not willing to barcode any of it, you may have listed it on the components area. So the pick ticket might look like this, where you've got, oops, this one doesn't have it, sorry. The components listed. Let's do, oh, here it is. Here's the components. So for my Glencoe Algebra Concepts and Applications, I've got a component that goes with this. So for every book that I issue, every hardbound book of these that I issue, I have a workbook that's supposed to go with it. So this is like a consumable, in other words. So those go with it. And so on my my pick ticket, which is what this is, that's going to be a pretty lengthy ticket if you've got, you know, 50 different components and you don't want to print all that paper. So sometimes at the busy seasons, especially the beginning and maybe the end of the school year, you may want to hide those components. It's not like they can't search for those. They absolutely can. The campus level can look it up by textbook as well as a report. They have a report as well that will list out all their components. So if you want to just let them know that components will be listed in those areas and you'll turn it off to kind of save yourself some paper, you absolutely can do that by just clicking on here and choosing to save. Okay, The other thing are denied items. Some items can be denied on the pick ticket, and as a result, they can have information listed. So let's go into that and just take a look at what that looks like. So inventory, campus requisitions. Let's see, we have this submitted one here for Charles Bailey for odds and ends. I go in here to take a look at it, and they've got some stuff here. They're eligible and they're ordering stuff that's eligible, but I'm just going to be mean and say denied. And I'm going to say because I said so. And there's that denied item. But I'm going to go ahead and approve this one so I can generate a pick ticket. Go to shipping, generate that pick ticket. Oh, it's on back order, of course. Let's do this. I chose the wrong one, didn't I? Yeah, I did. So let's go to another one. Here's submitted. Here's one that's. So here we go. We'll choose one that. Let's say this one was. Nana. Boo boo. Right? Probably shouldn't do this in real life, guys. You probably want to put like a real comment as to why, because they'll be able to look at that on reports and see that. So these are all, I'm going to approve all of these. And go to shipping and generate that pick ticket. This time I've got stuff to look at. So if I do the pick ticket here, we've got this PDF that generates, and here down here I have denied items. Okay, so there's this denied area that lists the ISBN that I denied and the notes that I put in there. So that's probably, again, not a good note to put there, but I'm training, so it's not a big deal. But if you don't want them to have the denied area on the pick ticket, just go ahead and go into the tools area, into preferences, and let's back out of here. Make sure that we're talking about it. Tools, preferences, reports, remember reports, and then hide denied items on pick tickets. These things you can always turn back on and turn off at whim. It's up to you. Okay. The other thing here is this is the standard pick ticket message. If you have a different message that you'd like to place there to communicate with your campuses, by all means, please update this information. This is just our sample template default thing that we've put there. If you notice, I've got this one here where I've changed the verbiage to say attention, shipments are received for your campuses after 5 business days by the district office. Shipment discrepancies cannot be disputed if this occurs. So you guys have reporting that will tell you who received the materials on a campus. So if you had to go in and do this for your campus because they're not receiving the books but they need to start using them, it will show that you're the one that went in and received them. That way that you can cite this on the pick ticket that any discrepancies, let's say that you sent them 100 and they said you sent them 98. Okay, well, if they're going to wait past a week to receive those, and your policy is that you're not going to argue about what's in the box, if they're going to let it sit there for a week where any schmo can walk down the hall, open it up, and grab whatever he wants, or she wants, then that cannot be disputed. Okay, but if they handle it within the first 5 business days of shipping that item to them, and there's a discrepancy, then you're happy to handle that. So I've seen this a lot. That's why I put this message here just for your information. But yeah, the standard pick ticket message looks like this. Shipments discrepancies must be reported to the textbook operations within 10 days of receipt. And then mine just says, a little bit different. So you just create whatever it is that you want there. You do have some limits on the number of characters. So pay attention to what may be cut off there and go ahead and print a sample pick ticket to make sure that that looks like you want it to. Okay, the other thing that you have here is forecast percentage for reports. forecast percentage for reports, you've got several reports in the system that talk about district analysis of need or campus analysis of need, and one of those is a percentage forecast. So if I pull open a report, like say for instance this, my district analysis of need for current enrollment, and I have these particular materials, these are my student counts, okay, and due to student counts, teacher counts, it calculates my eligibility. So for this one in particular, let's look at this one, okay? And I'll zoom in on that just a little bit more so that I can be a little clear about what we're talking about here. And I'm going to leave the header up there so you can see this header. So here's the ISBN. It's Scholastic Literacy Place Kindergarten. Price is quite a bit. And we've got 837 students. 837 is our eligibility, so our book course relationship there has been set at 100%, okay? And what we have in inventory is 112. They're all in storage, so we are short by 725. Now this is our district analysis of need based on current enrollment, where this particular forecast percentage comes into play is if I change this from a 0 forecast to say a 7% forecast and choose to click on save, what that does is when I open the district analysis of need percentage forecast, it's a different report and it's looking at applying that percentage against your enrollment. Okay, so see how the enrollment changed here for this particular book. It was, there's that Scholastic Kindergarten. It was, what was it? Ooh, I got quite a bit. Close this and this and this and this. District analysis of needs. So it was 837 and now it is 896. Okay, and my inventory has not changed. I still have 112, but it means my short count changed. Where this is very helpful is at the end of, let's say, a school year. So in the spring, sometimes and definitely, you know, if you haven't looked at this by May, you probably want to be able to start looking at what your enrollment count might be if, you know, your county or your area is growing. If you're in a high growth rate, that's maybe why that 7% is so high. If you're not growing that much, maybe it's a 1% forecast, just to kind of, you know, for the unforeseen. You can sit here and come in here, change this percentage, and then save and then run that report again, and it will completely change all of your numbers for you without having to go into any of the book course relationships, which is what we want. So be aware that that's there. And again, that report that it affects is going to be the district analysis of need percentage forecast. Okay, it defaults to 0, so it will look like current enrollment unless you change that percentage. Okay, all right, so that's the reports tab. Any questions on that before we move on? Nope. Okay. Quick entry. All right, so this is specifically going to be the quick entry tab under preferences, is specifically geared towards your campuses and their ability to issue out materials to individuals on their campus, whether those individuals are students or teachers. Okay. Quick entry is wonderful. It is exactly what it says. It allows them to quickly issue or distribute and collect or return those books to storage. That's critical for you know, high volume campuses where there's lots and lots of students, especially if the students are the ones responsible for those materials, like say high schools. Okay, so there's some behaviors that you can affect here on that screen. You can allow it to play a success sound. So if you have this toggled on, anytime they've collected or they've performed the task without any messages popping up or, you know, missed scans or anything like that, it will play a success sound. Now, the success sound is based on if the computer being used has speakers, and if those speakers are on, and if those speakers are turned up, and if those speakers are loud enough for that person to hear overall the commotion around them. So it is the first step in helping them But if they don't have speakers, or if they don't have it turned on or turned up, or if it's just flat not loud enough for them to hear because there's so much chaos, it can be not as great of a help, but at times it can be. So be aware of that. Forced double scanning of an accession for validation and quick entry. That's a lot. Okay, so what's going on here is every time a campus coordinator wants to issue a material to a person, they need to scan their ID, they need to scan the ISBN number of the book, and then they need to scan the accession number. We have put in here a forced double scanning of the accession number if this is turned on. So if this is turned on, what will happen is that person will have to then put in your entire district. Anyone who wants to use quick entry will have to put in the accession number twice. Okay, so it adds another scan to that distribution process. So be aware of that. It also adds it to the collection process. So there's 2 scans instead of 1. Just to make sure that what they scanned is actually what they scanned. And this comes from districts where maybe they've got people who are going really fast or have scanners that aren't optimized, and they're grabbing barcodes that are close to the barcode that they're scanning and adding on those extra characters. So some districts have this turned on just to double, triple make sure that the accession numbers scanned are actually accurate. That making sure that everything in their backroom and their storage is turned in properly. Okay, so and you guys could see that. You can just turn it on and go into quick entry and take a look at that, and it's pretty easy. It's just another field. All right, so quick entry field limits. This is only for quick entry, so keep that in mind. This is only for quick entry. Any other screen in the system will not behave this way, just quick entry. Did I mention this is just for quick entry? Okay, just making sure. Okay. All right. We have 4 areas here. Basically what this is doing is if your student IDs are always 5 digits, never have an exception. They're always 5 digits. You can tell the system to only allow 5 digits in the student ID field. So if they scan an ISBN by mistake, it'll go bong, sorry, that's not the right digit length, or it's not accurate. Same thing with teachers. If your teachers' IDs are always, without fail, 3 digits long, or maybe they're 6 digits long, whatever that may be, you can set that length here. Now, for those of you guys that have systems that have grown over time, and you've got some teachers that have been there forever and ever and ever, maybe their digits start at 3 and maybe they end at 4. You know, some of the more recent teachers maybe have 4 digits for their ID numbers. If that's the case, you can certainly put in the minimum length is 3, the maximum length is 4. Here, if I accidentally scanned a 5-digit student ID into a teacher ID field in quick entry, it would say, sorry, that's not accurate, and allows for less human error. ISBN length, this is the tricky one, right? If your campuses are creating any of their campus tracked inventories, so let's say the English department has asked the textbook coordinator to track some of the paperback books that they wanted to, that they purchased, the English department purchased, and they'll be handing out throughout the year. But they put in an ISBN that's like 3 digits long. That doesn't really help. So if they scan something here, you'll probably want to tell them that anything from 10 to maybe 16 digits. And of course, you guys can look at your inventory and see what that looks like. But generally speaking, the ISBN numbers used to be about 10 digits. And then when, I think it was just, January 2007, we made the move to, or everyone, all ISBNs made the move to 13-digit numbers. They added that 978 in front of it. So generally 13 digits is here, but some districts add extra characters to the ends of ISBNs to allocate for materials that were bundled. and don't have their own ISBNs, but yet they want to track those a la carte. So sometimes it'll get a little longer. Just be aware of that and advise your campus coordinators if they're going to create campus tracked materials or campus owned materials, that their ISBNs should be at least 10 digits. So that way you can kind of help them with that. And then a session length. You guys know your session numbers best, so you would put in here. And again, this is all meant to just help the campus user when they're using quick entry to distribute or collect materials from individuals on their campuses. It helps remove some human error. Okay, so that's the quick entry screen. Let's go to application notification. All right, so you have the ability here to put in like kind of a little note for anyone logging into TIPWeb. And it will go out to anyone who has user credentials in TIPWeb. So that'll be at the district level and at the various campuses as well. You can let them know all sorts of stuff. You can tell them to, let's say, receive your in-transit requisitions. Oops. Questions. Call me at, and then you can put in your extension number, whatever that is, and you can even say, I want this to be bold, and I want this to be really, really big, much bigger than that, like really, really big, and I want it to be angry red, because they need to do that. So all you have to do is, by clicking the Enable button and clicking Save, this enables it for the entire district. So the next time someone logs in to that particular, into TIPWeb-IM, this is what they're going to see. They log in and they're going to get this message, receive your in-transit requisitions. That's really, you'd have to know that that information is below there. So probably what we should do is make this a little bit smaller. We'll do this. So as you can see, you can play with it and see what it looks like before you post it live. And there we go. Do like, and do the preview. So there you go. Receive your in-transit requisitions. Questions, call me at blah, 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 blah. So that's going to show up. And if we hit save, if we go to the home screen, it's going to show up on everyone, including my own, campus or homepage. As you go and you close that, you can open it again by the application notification name. It's right here. I didn't update that, so I can go back and show you what that looks like. District preferences, that's something I always forget. It's right here under description. So if we want to say receive in-transit recs, we can put that as the description, hit save, and then go home. And because it's enabled, the message is still the same, but what's changed is the phrase here under application notification, receive in-transit requisitions. So if you make that meaningful, it will definitely help. If they forgot your extension, for instance, and they wanted to call you, they could just click on it and it pops it back up. And so even as you go to different schools, you view switch to a different school, it's going to pop up. Okay. After the first time they've seen it and they close it, it will reside here and it won't bother them again. So if I go back to district view, it's not going to bother me. If I go back to Cypress Springs, it's not going to bother me because I've already looked at it. But if I go to a different school like Becker Elementary here, it is going to pop up because I haven't seen it for Becker Elementary. Okay, so be aware of that. And if it's a message that you really, really want to make sure that they're, I need to go back to the district level, sorry. If it's a message that you really want them to see multiple times, and you know it's a busy season, so they're logging in multiple times, you can come back in here to district preferences, go to application notification, and just hit save again. this re-enables it, so it kind of resets it to bother them again. It'll pop up on their screen again. So if it's a really important message, like the beginning of the year, maybe the end of the school year when they might have audits and things like that, you can just come in here every morning and hit save, and it will pop up again, and they'll they'll see it if and when they log in. Okay, so the preview's there. Again, you have these tools up here at the top. There is no spell check, so be aware of that. Try to keep your stuff clear as far as your messaging is concerned. Probably want to do a spell check in Word or something like that. Okay, but the description appears on the home page. That's this right here, and the notification automatically displays for every user the next time they log into the application. So this won't show up while they're doing something in TIPWeb. It'll, if they close the screen and come back in, say after lunch, then it will show up, and it will show up only on the home page. It doesn't bother them when they're in the actual process of doing stuff. Okay? All right, so let's move on. Homepage settings. This is where you add your logo. So if you have a district logo that you would like to put there, absolutely feel free to do that. We're going to tell you that 400 by 100 pixels is going to be the ideal length. So this is 400 pixels, and it goes up to 100 pixels, so it fits just fine. All you have to do is select your image by clicking on Select, navigating to what it is that you want. If you navigate to something that, let's go pick a goofy picture. If you navigate to something that doesn't have the 400 by 100, it will squish it. Okay, so let's put this ladybug in there. Okay, and I'll say bug and upload the image. See how it squishes it? It kind of stretches it and squishes it, and that's because it's not, the original image wasn't 400 by 100. So make sure that your image is 400 by 100. The fastest, easiest way to do that is in your start menu. Usually you have kind of a what is it called? Paint, right? Don't most PCs have the program called Paint? And when that opens, what you can do, and this is kind of a workaround. So here's my Paint project, or Paint application. And again, I just went to Start on my PC and typed in Paint because that's the name of this program that comes standard with Windows products. Okay, so if I come in here, you should be able to choose how to resize your image. I'm going to go ahead and open my bug that I was playing with. So where's my bug? There's my bug. Okay, so I'm going to open my bug, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say resize. And this resize, and it was right there, this resize window allows me to choose what I need it to be. Okay, so I'm going to tell it I need it to be pixels and not percentage. Okay, and my pixels need to be 400, and then I'm going to choose to take away maintain aspect ratio. That means that when you move it, it doesn't squish it. But here we want the picture to be 400 by 100. And we say, okay, it's going to squish it, right? So let's do this. I'm going to select all. And I just went in here and said select all by doing here. And then I'm going to delete that bug. And I'm going to open the bug again here. So I'm going to choose the bug. I'm going to make it, actually I'm going to go ahead and do pixels, maintain aspect ratio. Because it's taller than I need it to be, I'm going to change it to 100. So there we go. And then if I resize this to 400 by 100, oops, that's not what that's percentage. Yeah, you gotta be you gotta do this, and then we want maintain and choose. Well, anyway, so now you've got that in there. You just need to make the area here larger. And so those are now 365. So we'll do 400. And that should be okay. Yeah, that looks okay. And then we save. And then we can come back in here and choose another, oops, I have to choose another image. So there's that image with the long box. And upload the image, and now it doesn't look so weird, okay? And then when we hit save, now my whole district has a ladybug. So, yay, images. So that's where that goes from. Sorry I took too long to figure that one out. I don't play in Paint that often, but yeah, so it just as a reminder, 400 pixels wide by 100 pixels tall or high. That's the size you're going to need, otherwise it's going to get all wonky. Okay. All right, the other thing that we're going to look at today in preferences is email notifications. And email notifications, there's some really cool email notifications in here. Some of them include, let's do this. We've got requisition shipped for campus notifications. Yeah, I guess I should start here. So campuses can get email notifications, and the district user can now get email notifications. And how that comes into play is the campuses are identified by the information listed on the campuses page. So here's campuses, and for Charles Bailey High School, I put my name in there and I updated it with my email address. Okay, so that's how I got some of these emails that I'm about to show you. So if these emails are not updated, if these people are old, or they're not old, but they're no longer there in that position, or their emails are not correct, you're just going to go into that particular campus, click on details, and then come in here under the edit pencil, and you're going to edit the email account or the email address that's listed here. Same thing with the contact information. So this is where you can update that information. Okay? So be aware of that. This is where the campus users are being identified. If you have more than one person that you would like to send something to, when you come in here, you're going to click edit, and then you can just do a comma and then do another email address. So let's say Susie at hayessoft.com. We also want her to get the email too. So we hit save, we get that campus updated message. We go back out and see now you have 2 emails that are listed there. So both of these people will receive emails. So if you want that to be the case, because you have a doer and you have the person who's in charge, but isn't necessarily the person who's actually using the product, but they want a copy of everything because they're ultimately the person who has to sign off on things, you can put their information in there. So more than one person can now be in there. Go to Tools, go to Preferences, and then go to Email Notifications. It's the last tab. So for your campuses, you have the ability to communicate with them. You can let them know that a requisition has been shipped. So maybe there's a requisition that they requested. Here's a sample of what that looks like. So the tag, the subject line says TIPWeb-IM, requisition shipped, status notification. And it's letting them know that the requisition called Growth Order New School Year has been shipped for Charles Bailey High School. This is something that you're not going to respond to. See, it says do not reply right here, and it lets them know who sent it, which would be my district with my district phone number and fax number if I needed that information. And it also tells them when I sent that information. Okay, so it's a very boring email, but it's letting them know that there's a requisition that has been shipped to them, so it's in transit. So they know that they need to go receive it. The next one here is requisition is in transit, notify every so many days until they've received it. So you can bug them to death if you if you want to. You can put in here, notify the campus user every day until requisitions that are in the status of in transit have been received. So if you've got some campuses that have problems logging in and actually receiving those in transit requisitions, this is going to sit there and email them constantly until they receive it. So this will notify them on a regular basis that they need to go in and receive those campus requisitions. You can choose whatever number you want here. If you want it to be every 5 days, you can. You can put in every 3 days. It's up to you what you want to do. And of course, that's going to be indicated by your policy and what you're doing district-wide. So if you have something similar to what I put on the PIC ticket about you have 5 business days to receive that in transit, then you may want to put every 1 day or every 2 days so that they're being reminded to get that done. Adjustment is posted. So if there's been an adjustment that has been posted, so let's say that the audit adjustment has been posted because they lost materials or something like that, then this is a sample of what that looks like. Again, it tells you the school, the subject is pretty clear, but it is a do not reply, boring kind of email, right? Return surplus call tag is issued. Return surpluses are those adjustments where we say, okay, you've got usable books, great, you want to return them to the district, okay, fabulous, we'll come pick it up. And so the call tag is the PIC ticket in that situation. You're printing out a piece of paper to hand to a driver and say, go get this stuff from this campus. So if the call tag has been printed, it will let the campus user know that someone is going to be showing up soon to come pick that stuff up because it's been printed. All right, transfer ticket. So this is going to be if you're allowing campus-to-campus transfers to occur, if the transfer's been ticketed and if the transfer's been received, both the sender and the receiver of Campus A and Campus B will be receiving a notification. Okay, so if you have that set up, then this will apply. If you do not have that set up, and remember that's on transfers, if you don't have this allowed, then it doesn't matter what this is. Nothing will happen. Okay. Audit is created. If you have an audit that's been created, so here's an email where Charles Bailey High School had a, oh, wait, that's requisition, sorry. Wrong one. Here it is. Charles Bailey High School, yeah. So it says here a spot audit has been created, and that information, you need to log into TIPWeb-IM to take care of that. And again, it gives you the information with a do not reply. So it's letting you know that the audit has been created so that they need to go do something, right? So that's the campus notifications. You can toggle any of these on or off, whatever you want to do there. You don't have to. We are suggesting here that you put a message out to your campuses to put do not reply at haysoft.com in their email address so that it doesn't go into their junk box, okay? If you want the district yourself to get an email message, this is going to be where you would go to do that. So I've put my information in here. So this is my email address. And anytime a campus submits a requisition to me, the district, I'm going to get an email. Okay, so that's what that one was that I was showing you earlier, the odds and ends. So requisition odds and ends have been submitted to the district. And it's saying that Charles Bailey High School is the one that submitted it. So that information is there and available for you to take advantage of. You just have to turn it on and put in your district email that you want it to be notified to. Okay. So again, left side of the screen is campus notifications, right side of the screen is district notification. Kim's saying that her email blows up without that notification. Oh, without it? So if you don't have it, you get a lot of emails from what? The campus users? No, just in general. Okay. Okay. All right. So I guess turn that on if you if you don't want your email to blow up. So yeah, so good new feature that just came out. That should be something that you guys would really like. And again, as you make those changes, make sure that you're clicking on the green save icon. Okay, so that's the preferences screen. There's again those 7 sections. Just go back over those again on the web links area that I'll show you when we stop the share. You have the help link that directly talks about all these sections. So just be aware of that. All right, the other thing that we want to talk about is going to be user management. So in Tools again, so a lot of this stuff is in Tools, guys. In Tools, under Global Tools is User Management. In User Management, you have the ability to, for your campuses, let's say that I'm going to create a new campus user. Her name is Janie. Let's call her Janie Jones. And her username is JJ. And her password is textbooks. Okay? JJ has privileges at multiple campuses. Okay, so maybe she is someone who is a floating helper between people. Maybe she's just someone that wants to have access between 2 places. Or a lot of times it could be an assistant principal who still needs to help with a previous campus while taking over responsibilities at their current campus. So if that's the case, maybe Cedar Creek Middle School was the original campus and Cypress Springs Middle School, or well, let's do another middle school, Indian Springs Middle School, is the second campus. Okay. Let's say that this is their new campus, the one that they have primary responsibilities for. Right here, it's telling you down here, the first row is their primary campus. So when they log in, the very first school that's listed in the assigned campuses box will be the one that they're logging into first. All other campuses they're going to have to view switch in order to get to or impersonate. So if Indian Springs is their primary, selecting that and moving it up so that it's the most recent or the top row is critical. So that way they're not having to switch multiple times. And then you just hit save. Okay. Oops. We have to tell them what group it is. Okay. Then you hit save. And then there's JJ right here, Jeannie Jones. And her primary campus is Indian Springs, but she has 2 campuses issued to her. Okay. Another thing that you want to keep in mind, let's say that we've got, let's say we have me here. I'm a campus user. Okay. If I, as a campus user, was assigned, let's see here, Learning Campus. Let's say I was assigned Learning Campus. Okay. Let's say I'm no longer at Learning Campus, I'm at another campus. I don't want to continue having privileges at Learning Campus. I can just move that campus back to unassigned and choose the next school to assign it to, and then hit save. We have a lot of calls on the support line that say, oh, well, I deleted their account and then I just created them a new account, but it won't let me use JJ for like Janie Jones. Okay. That's because that is a one-time use. Whenever you choose a username, it can only be used once. So be aware of that and be careful that you're not deleting something when really you just need to reassign the school. So that is also a preference that you can make. You can have your campus users have multiple schools that they have access to, and you can kind of modify what their assigned campus is. No need to delete, just reassign. Okay? All right, the other thing that we wanted to talk about today too is tools and form letter editor. Like I said, lots of stuff in tools today. Form letter editor. What is the form letter editor? Let me go here. This is the help section that I have linked in the session today. Your form letters are things that your campus users can use to communicate with various people on their campuses. Generally speaking, parents, guardians, etc. Sometimes just students. But it is regarding student distributions. Form letters are not available currently for teachers. But their format is really neat in the fact that they put the address here with room for letterhead here. So if you Z-fold the form letter, it can fit into a window envelope. Okay. You have the empty space at the top for that, that logo or letterhead, if you will. The student information block is here to the left. The school information block is here to the right. The distributions and statuses are here in the middle, okay? And then the body of the letter, okay? So this body of the letter is what you can control. You can create something that allows your campuses to have official verbiage from the district. So if you want to communicate, these are, beginning of the year contract letter, for instance. These are the books your student has checked out. Please be aware they cost this much. If anything should happen to them as far as minor damage or major damage, your student and or you will be held responsible for those fees and fines, etc. So if you have something formal that you'd like to put there, you can. You can also do a letter that's created for lost books or materials that they need to return or things that are partial payments. There's no end to what you can create. Down here it tells you basically what's going on. So here on the form letter editor page, and just to remind you, I got it by Tools, Global Tools, Form Letter Editor, down here at the bottom. Okay. So the three books that are the three letters that are currently listed here are the default letter English, default letter Spanish, and student contract letter. These are things that ship with TIPWeb-IM for free. It's not anything that you have to create. Those should already be there. Currently, my district has an existing Learning ISD lost book letter. Okay, this lost book letter I can edit. So if I want to update some policy information, I can certainly do that. Maybe there was some movement in our handbook and I need to update those numbers and sections. I absolutely can do that. What this does is by allowing you to enter in all of the information for your campuses, they can go in and grab the district approved letter and use that to communicate to the students and or parent guardians, etc. It makes it a standardized process. You can come in here and edit these things, duplicate them. You can create them from scratch using the plus button here. It's a pretty straightforward process. You're just given basically the letter name here, any description that you want to put here, and then the letter body. So I can put Allison test letter, the description. I can put y'all pay attention to this. Yeah. And I can put in, gobbledygook, gobbledygook, gobbledygook. I'm very formal today. Thanks, Allison. Okay. Well, actually, I should say thanks, campus coordinator, because the campus coordinators are the ones that are going to be utilizing this, not you at the district level. You're just creating it for their use. Okay. I hit save. My letter's been saved. And there's my Allison test letter. So to take a look at what that looks like now, I'm going to choose the preview button, and that PDF is going to be here. And here we have dear parent guardian of, and then the information listed. So all that information is listed there. That's probably, let's go back. I'm going to go to an actual campus and run that letter so that you guys can see it. Let's do Charles Bailey. Hey, receive your in-transits. They go into reports. They go into form letters. In form letters, there's that letter. And I can say, okay, I want to do everything that is a status of lost. Okay? And by creating that, it creates a rich text file, which is like a Word document, word processing document. And that information then looks like this. So we've got their information, ISBN, and the body of the letter, etc. Okay. So again, you have the ability to kind of mess with these things because it's in a word processing thing, or that the campuses will. But if you want to give them a head start on what that verbiage should be, go ahead and use the form letter editor. Okay. All right, so let's see here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the share because we have run out of time officially. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to switch us over to the end of the screen, so if you guys want to hit those downloads or click on those links, you absolutely can. Remember, you have unlimited technical support. Please call us anytime at 1-800-495-5993 or email us at support@haysoft.com. If anybody has any questions, I am happy to stay online and answer any and all questions you may have. I'm not going anywhere.